Hi guys, it's Lexi from Lexi Rose Reads, and I have an announcement here today. So I think we just need to get off on the first step is that I'm extra, and I used this as a reason for why I needed to buy a clicker for my Kindle. And then to be extra, I had to make it match my Kindle case because you have to. That's like a requirement, right? So what is it? So I am a co-host in KuKi MAYhem this year. And you may be asking, what is KuKi MAYhem? It has evolved over the years here, but KuKi MAYhem stands for Kindle Unlimited and Kindle MAYhem. What is the goal of this? Our goal is to read as many Kindle Unlimited / Kindle books as we can. And if you're someone like me, you have maxed out your KU borrows because you just started adding things. You're like, oh, I want to read this and this. And then you're like, oh, I am at 20. So bit of a problem there. However, that being said, if you are not a KU or a Kindle user and want to participate, you are more than welcome to with whatever digital platform you use for books. Barnes & Noble, Google Books, Apple Books, whichever. Go ahead and feel free to join us. This is going to be running from May 1st in your time zone and finishing on May 31st your time zone. However, that being said, kickoff sprints for this will be on May 1st at 9 a.m. AEST on Nicole from Dusty Book Sniffers channel. Produce all this, doing all the behind the scenes stuff along with Koda from your booktube bestie Koda, and Vanessa from Read with Dr. B is also one of the producers for this. Now you can make this as easy and as hard as you want to. So easy mode is going to be reading 10 books from your library, I'll say, and hard mode is going to be reading all 20 books that you can, like 20 as in that's your max you can get from KU. However, you can also do a custom and challenge yourself however you want. So if you want to do 5, if you can only manage 5, if you want to do 30, do 30. You know, that being said, if you are using KU and it does like max you out at 20 KU borrows, as you return stuff and you finish everything from the original 20 list, you are welcome to then add more to your list and continue reading. What are the rules? There are no prompts. You know, go green, read something digital. There are DNF rules for this, however. If you DNF below 20%, swap it for another book. However, if you read 51% or more, you can go ahead and count that as a book read and off of your TBR. There is also, backed by popular demand, the sprint train will be occurring. So what does that mean? 24 hours for all 31 days of May, one of the producers or a co-host from KuKi MAYhem will be sprinting. There will be a playlist that is coming together in the coming days as we all get our sprints scheduled, where you will be able to follow along and join us. Also, make sure you join our Discord, which will also be linked. Discord is where all the mayhem is going to be happening, with talking to each other, sharing progress. There are going to be graphics for your TBR and your finished books, all in the Discord. With all the admin stuff out of the way here, which Nicole has gone over more in her own video, which will also be linked, I have my TBR for this year. And like I said, I am someone who maxed out my KU borrows and then was like, why can't I borrow more? And then realized I had 20 KU books, and have I like read any of them? No. So, however, I've been in such a digital mode, and I've been trying to hold off all of April because I knew this was coming, and I was like, don't tire yourself out, because all you're gonna do in May is read your KU books. But let's go through what I have on my list. So I have the Letters of Enchantment series by Rebecca Ross, which is Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. I've heard a lot of good things about these ones. It was really, really popular, I feel like over a year ago, maybe now. Time is meaningless to me. But it was really popular. I've heard a lot of great things, so I've been wanting to go ahead and read those ones. I also have Crowns of Stars and Ties by Janessa Wren, which is the sequel to Heir of Sun and Moon. That was one of my, not top 10 books, I would say a top 20 book from 2024, and I am excited to continue because it does end off on a little bit of a cliffhanger, and I hadn't gotten around to reading book 2 in that series yet. And then I have A Court of Sugar and Spice by Rebecca F. Kenny. Not sure I'll get to this one necessarily, because it is more of a winter themed one, but I had borrowed it because it is a Nutcracker retelling, and I was kind of doing a vlog at the time where I was reading Christmassy books. This is probably going to be bottom of the barrel if I get to this one, but I'll read it then. Otherwise, admittedly, we'll probably push off the wayside. But nevertheless, it is on my current KU borrow shelf. And then I have Crossroads by Denby Perry. This was actually Brooklyn's book club pick, like back in February, and then Clue happened and I got slumpy and I didn't get around to reading it. So I'm hoping to get to this one this month, especially because it is a standalone and I don't have a ton of standalones on my Kindle Unlimited shelf, so I kind of want to get the standalones off to the way because most of them are series. Then I have Curse of Shadows and Thorns by LJ Andrews. This was something I think I saw on Pinterest because for some reason my Pinterest has a ton of TikTok videos on it, and I was like, ooh, that sounds interesting. And so I borrowed the first book in that series, and like, here we are. Also have Book of Azrael by Amber v. Nicole. Same thing. I saw it on Pinterest. It sounded up my alley. I've been in a dark romance mood. I was like, just throw it on the list. It'll be fine. Then I have The Binding Chronicles by Elaine R. Gala. This one is Tethered, Tormented, Treasured, and Troubled. Again, it's actually fanro, dark fanro. And again, I'm just in a dark fantasy mood and I like fanro. So it, you know, it all gonna come together. Then I have a indie author, which is the author of Timekeepers Live In, which is by Sarah Emmer. I only have the first 2 books in the series. I don't know if book 3 is out currently or not, but I know it was going to be released on KU sometime in the month of May. And I have Nirel and Dissonance, and I picked this author because this is actually an author that's going to be at an event I am going to in July. So I would like to go ahead and read the books that she has out to talk to her a little bit at this book event I'm going to. Then I have Crowns of Nixia by Carissa Broadbent, which is highly popular, but I have the first 3, Serpent and the Wings of Night, Ashes and the Star-Cursed King, and Songbird and Hearthstone. I actually don't know anything about this series, except for that a lot of people were raving that it was super good, and I'm really good at avoiding spoilers, because, like, I don't know, they just all go over my head and I don't hear anything. But I've heard a lot of good things. Like, I've heard people saying this is a great series, so I kind of want to get to that one. Then I have Guild by Raven Kennedy. Again, I just heard that this was good, and I borrowed the first book to remind myself, hey, you want to read that series? So I have book 1. And then I have The Ever King by LJ Andrews. Again, I just saw a bunch of people reading this and was like, I also want to read this now. FOMO, okay? I also want to read this. Then I have Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez, and I picked this one because I have loved the 2 other Abby Jimenez's books I read, which is Part of Your World and Yours Truly. They were honestly some of my favorite books I read in the past 2 years, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna throw on this one too because it's on KU. And then I have When She Unravels by Gabrielle Sands, and again, this was I saw this on Pinterest, and it sounded intriguing, and honestly, I don't even know what I typed in. Like, I don't know what brought Mafia Romances up on my Pinterest, but Mafia Romances ended up all over my Pinterest, and I was like, yeah, sure, I totally do want to read that. But that wraps up my TBR for this readathon. That is all 20 books that I have currently borrowed. My mode is probably going to be, my goal is going to be 10, especially because I know some of these books are quite chunky because they are fanro, and you know, some of those suckers can get kind of thick when you see them in person. My goal is going to be 10, but make sure you go ahead and make sure you follow Nicole and Koda and Vanessa. They put a lot of work into the behind the scenes of this, and also follow any of the other co-hosts, all of which will be linked in the description box, as well as the Discord and the Google Drive with our information on how to participate and all the different tags we're using.